With me now is Evan Sohn. He is the CEO and chair of Recruiter.com. Evan, it's great to have you back. And do you mean they've never been more bullish in this recovery, or they've never been more bullish, period?
Yeah, we were talking about it this morning, and it's inched up from where we were last month from 3.25 to 3.3. Now, this is still out of a 3.5 sentiment number, so we're still pretty low in terms of where we need to go to. But we're certainly seeing an uptick. I think workloads have never been higher. And more importantly, when we looked at the impact of COVID on their activities, that's also down. That's down to now about 24.5% feel that COVID's having a direct impact on their activities. And that's down about 7 points from where we were last month at about 32%.
Evan, how can it be that at a time when we're getting more bankruptcy filings, more notification of permanent layoffs, the pandemic feels to me like it's shifting from one that's largely temporary to unfortunately giving clarity on those areas where it may be more permanent? Why do you think your recruiters are starting to say, actually, the pandemic's less of a factor? What explains that disconnect?
Yeah, so look, if we look at their sentiment on workload from where they were last year, they're still about 30% down. So they still feel that despite the fact that their workloads are up, they're about 30% of where they were a year ago. And that's pretty significant. And I think that you're seeing an uptick in certain industries. Maybe it's the IT industry and the computer software industry have taken a slight uptick from last month. Maybe that's due to those companies shifting from in-person to remote jobs. And we're going to start tracking those roles that are in person, those that are online, and those that are hybrid. So maybe last month we saw an uptick in the manufacturing sector. Healthcare still remains strong. But look, our heart goes out to everyone that's losing a job. And keep in mind that the area that people use recruiters for are usually some of those more high-paying jobs. Individually, certainly at the corporate level, we've seen a big impact on the mortgage space, for instance.
Let's talk about manufacturing, because we got the ISM report this morning that was relatively strong, but a pullback from the strength that we saw last month. And some of the forward-looking parts of it dropped a little bit more precipitously. So you guys are actually picking up on some bullish signs in manufacturing. And I wonder if you could talk about that and if you think it's sustainable.
Well, the answer is we are seeing this impact. And again, you look at where we are. Last September, we added 139,000 jobs last September, so September 2019. So even the most pessimistic reports have us adding 5 times that in numbers. So there's still a very long way to go. But we're certainly going to see sectors that are hit harder than others.
Do you think, Evan, and I'm asking you to really speculate here, but since you got your ear so close to the ground, I do wonder, a lot of the manufacturing demand that we've seen is being chalked up to restocking. Basically, there's been a big shortage of goods in some parts of the economy owing to the different nature of demand this year. Do you think that the manufacturing employers that you talk to are looking for people to just kind of help with that restocking and that's it? Or are they kind of building out a workforce for a sustainable recovery?
I think when I started looking at some of the online job boards, and I was pretty surprised to see how many open positions there are that are full-time positions. There was one online job site, they had 7 million open jobs, the bulk of which, I think 6 million, were actually full-time jobs. So I think that sort of help out role is the gig economy versus the real more permanent positions. I think it'll be interesting to track. There's certainly a shift that we're seeing from the blue collar worker again, and our heart goes out to everyone that's lost their job. But we have not seen yet an industry that said, gee, we came back and we hired people and now we're laying them off again. We still haven't seen that yet. I know there's a lot of talk of that second wave, but I don't think the recruiters are really seeing that in our sentiment. And again, what we really measure is the recruiter sentiment.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.